start.
Good evening to Dr. Mehan and my fellow classmates. So today we are here to give a presentation, but before that we would like to have a mini game session. So this is the game. So what do you all think of those pictures? There is similar elements related to these pictures. So you have to guess in a word and drop your answer in the chat box. The hint is the word will start with the letter R. Okay, so most of you got it the correct answer. The answer is risk. As we all can see, all those pictures are related to risk. The first picture shows that the man is walking on the rope, so there is a possibility for him to fall down. The second picture, the man is riding on the motorbike, so it's a risk for him to get into the fire. The third picture is showing the elderly who will be easily get infected with the coronavirus. The fourth picture is about the two men who are going to be attacked by the lions. And the fifth picture is about the durians going to fall on your head. So all these are related to risk. Next slide. So today we are here to give a presentation on the enterprise risk management and business continuity management. Marisa?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Marisa. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. We will just turn off the camera to avoid any interruption during the presentation. Okay. Okay, so now let's continue. So these are the contents that we are going to cover throughout the presentation. So the first one will be the definitions of enterprise risk management. And then the second one, the importance, and then the third one, process of enterprise risk management and business continuity management, and then drivers, roles and responsibility, and then the relationship between ERM and BCM, and then we will continue with the conclusions and examples and conclusion. Okay, next. Enterprise risk management. Okay, by looking at each word of enterprise risk and management, enterprise mean an organization or a company, business. Risk mean danger, hazard, loss, obstacles. And management means how people direct and control a group of people or an organization to reach a goal. So, to properly address the definition of enterprise risk management is the process of identifying and addressing methodically the potential events that represent risk to the achievement of strategic objective or to opportunities to gain competitive advantage. How? By addressing the risk in a systematic and coordinated plan, implement the plan, and hold key individual responsible for managing critical risks within the scope of their responsibilities. All right, types of risk. There is a lot of types of risk actually, and some of them are economic risk. The economic is constantly changing as the market fluctuates. So some positive changes are good for the company, which leads to becoming purchase environments, while negative events can reduce sale. Next is security and fraud risk. As more customers use online and mobile challenge to share personal data, there are also greater opportunities for hacking. Not only does this risk impact trust and reputation, but a company is also financially liable for any data breaches or fraud. The last one, operational risk. Mistake or failure due to action or decision made by company employee. Operational risk can occur at every level in an organization, range from the very small, for example, the risk of loss due to minor human mistakes, to the very large, such as the risk of bankruptcy. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, business continuity management. Business continuity management is defined as the advanced planning and preparation of an organization to maintain business function or quickly resuming after a disaster has occurred. It's designed to protect personal data and assets and make sure they can function quickly when disaster strikes. This is also to provide the organization with the ability to effectively respond to threats such as natural disaster or maybe data breaches and protect the business interests of the organization. Okay, next slide. So these are the advantages of enterprise risk management and business continuity management. So some of them are cost-effective method. When company invest in a good enterprise risk management solution, they can also easily reduce the insurance premium for their business. Insurance is usually taken out because companies want to transfer the risk to a third party. If there is a good enterprise risk management and business continuity management in the organization, this immediately reduce the responsibility of transference of risk to a third party. This means fewer premiums and less cost to the company. Next one is systematic risk management. It creates a culture where corporation can handle and manage risk effectively within the organization. Why? This is because an enterprise risk management and business continuity management touch all departments of the organization at all levels, not just the top level employees. Okay, next, it helps with regulatory compliance. So to ensure compliance with regulations, one of the things that auditor look for is a company ability to manage risk. So with ERM and BCM, it is easy for regulators to determine whether an organization is strong enough to manage risk or not. So for listed company, this helps raise a company's profile in the eyes of investor. Okay, the last one will be build confidence among employees and customer. So when an employees know what they need to do when crises arise, this will build their confidence with the company. And for the customers, companies that are transparent about their ongoing business continuity efforts are communicating something very powerful to their customer. This shows that the company value their trust and will work hard to maintain operation during a disaster. Therefore, it will build confidence among their customer. All right. So next, I will pass to Tan Molly to explain more on the process of ERM and BCM. Thank you.
Next slide. Thank you, Marisa. Okay, I'm Tenmuli here and I'll be talking on the process of ERM and BCM. So as we see here, there are two elements of the process that can be considered as continually acting in the diagram. These are the communication and consultation and monitoring and review. As you can see, these two elements are throughout the process. The first is communication and consultation. The purpose of communication and consultation is basically to assist the relevant stakeholders in understanding the risk and the reason why particular actions are required. Communication seeks to promote awareness and understanding of the risk, whereas the consultation involves obtaining feedback and information to support the decision making. So monitoring and review. And review includes planning and gathering and also analyzing the information, recording the results and providing the feedback. The purpose of monitoring and review is to improve the quality and also the effectiveness of the process design, implementation and the outcomes. Ongoing monitoring and periodic review of the risk management process and its outcome should be planned part of the risk management process. Next slide. Okay, now we see the four steps after the two elements. Okay, the step one is establishing the context. It means that we have to identify the scope of the risk management process, what is the organization's objectives, and establish the risk evaluation criteria. The criteria will be established before the risk assessment process. Thus, it should be continually reviewed and amended if necessary. In short, this stage is on identifying which factors, either the internal or the external factors that affect the business, what are the organizations wants to achieve, and how to evaluate the risk. Moving on to the next step on risk assessment. Risk assessment is the overall process of risk identification, risk analysis, and risk evaluation. The purpose of risk identification is to find, recognize, and describe risks that prevent an organization achieving its objectives. Relevant, appropriate, and up-to-date information is important in identifying those risks. The organization can use a range of techniques for identifying the uncertainties that might affect the objectives. So risk analysis is a process that comprehends the nature of the risk and to determine the level of the risk. This is the part where an understanding of the risk is developed. The purpose of risk evaluation is to support the decisions These evaluations involves comparing the result of the risk analysis with the established risk criteria to determine whether the additional action is required or not. So step 3 is on risk treatment. The purpose of risk treatment is to select and implement options for addressing the risk. Options for treating the risk may involve avoiding the risk by deciding not to start the activity that gives you the risk, accepting the risk in order to pursue an opportunity, removing the risk source, or transferring the risk through buying an insurance. So in this stage, we will know who is accountable for the plan and what are the resources that they need. Then they will implement the treatment options. So step 5 is recording and reporting. So once we have done implementing the treatment options, then we have to do recording and reporting. The risk management process and its outcomes should be documented and reported through the appropriate mechanisms. This is because the relevant risk information is available all levels of the organizations and will be helpful in taking any risk informed decisions in the future. Next. Okay, now we will move on to the business continuity management process according to ISO 22301. So as we can see in the diagram, it begins from plan, do, check, act, and back again to plan. So this is a cyclic process. Next. Okay, the first process is plan. In this stage, the business has to establish the business continuity policy, targets, or processes to improve the business continuity. One of the most important plan activities is for the executive management, in where they have to identify what they want to protect and recover with respect to their business continuity program. These are typically stated as critical products or services. The next is do. The do process implements and operates the business continuity policy, processes, and procedures. In this stage, the organizations have to perform business impact analysis and risk assessment. In other words, this process is to determine the strategies or recovery plan and implement it. The third process is check. The check process monitors and reviews the performance against the established management system objectives or policies and report the results to the management for the review. The results of the said assessment should be presented to the management through the established business continuity committee. This can be done by performing the internal audits and schedule management reviews. The last is ACT. The ACT process maintains and improves the program by taking preventative and corrective actions based on the results of the management review. This includes updating and maintaining the corrective actions or preventative actions as well as ensuring continuous improvement of the business program in order to constantly align the business continuity program to management expectations. Okay, that's all from me, and I'll pass you over to my friend. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Tenmoli. I'm Anika, and I'm going to explain about the key drivers of enterprise risk management and business continuity management. Next slide, please. So first of all, I would explain the key drivers of enterprise risk management. We can see that there are 8 key drivers of enterprise risk management. So I will explain one by one. Next slide, please. So, as we know that many organizations still regard risk documentation as an end, and rather than a means to manage risk, therefore treating ERM as a checklist-driven box-ticking exercise and failing to operationalize risk management into strategy setting and mission-critical day-to-day activities. So, first of all, the risk management strategy. Risk management strategy provides a structured and coherent approach to identifying, assessing, and management risk. It means that it builds in a process for regularly updating and reviewing the assessment based on new developments or action taken. A risk management strategy can be developed and implemented by even the smallest group of projects or built into a complex strategy for a multi-site international organization. The next one is risk ownership. Risk ownership is often assigned to a person responsible for executing the risk responses. This is not an appropriate allocation of accountability. The head of risk management function, whose role should only be to communicate, coordinate, and administer the organization's risk management policies and activities, and also to ensure identification and mitigation of material risk by the appropriate risk owner, which can be often mistaken as a person responsible for the actual management of risk. The next one is decision making. Risk management efforts, I have missed one. The next one is risk management competency. Those in charge of risk governance, those responsible for managing risk, those assigned the task of executing risk response, and lastly, for those monitoring and reporting the effectiveness of risk responses. These four type of people can be related to risk management competency. The next one is decision making. Risk management efforts tend to focus on post decision implementation risk and overlook risk inherent in strategic choices. So, as many corporate failures are due to strategic missteps, risk management should be applied to the decision making process by understanding the risk associated with each strategy choice before making the selection. Next slide, please. So the next one is daily operations. Day-to-day business operations are the activities that a business and its employees engage in daily for the purpose of generating a profit and increasing the inherent value of the business as a going concern. The next one is continuous monitoring. Continuous monitoring is an economical way to identify risk or minimize potential risk which could affect your reputation and integrity of an organization. No individual should be assigned a role to monitor performance, which can be domain of responsibility. And to ensure the integrity of the monitoring functions, the head of those functions must have direct access or to reporting line to a relevant board member or board committee. Periodic monitoring. Periodic monitoring involves making comparison between physical achievements and program targets between financial expenditure and budgets at the end of specific time periods. For example, monthly, 3 monthly, and longer intervals. And the last one is culture and board oversight. Finally, and most importantly, effective risk management can only be achieved with an appropriate risk culture. The board should establish policies and guidelines to build a strong control environment within the organization and set the right tone at the top. So, after all these 8 drivers of ERM, we can say that ERM is not about and should not stop at the submission of the risk register to the board. Organizations should review and build on the strength of these 8 drivers so that they may well equipped to manage the various risks and remain resilient in the face of any diversity. Next slide, please. So I will explain the key drivers of business continuity management. Next slide. So the first one is survival. The prime driver of business continuity management is survival. As we know that no company will survive without the policy of survival. After a disaster, the priority of many organizations is to ensure the company is not so badly affected that it has to close business. One of the main roles of BCM is to plan to ensure survival in the event of a disaster. Having a good, tried, and tested BCP in place can be make the difference between survival or not. The second one is financial and reputational. Financial risk is a type of danger that can result in the loss of capital to interested parties. On the other hand, reputation risk affects an organization's culture and values and is often seen as one of the more common risks. The third one is customer. Retaining customer is one of the main objectives for an organization during a crisis. By reducing reputational damage, loss of customers to the company will be kept as a minimum. Business want to remain up and running after a disaster if they have a good continuity plan in place. They are less likely to have closed for extended periods or have alternative measures in the place. As a result, will retain their customers. And the last but not the least is employees. Employees are those people who are the greatest asset in any company, and it shows that we have taken the time to consider them, not just the technology or equipment required for them, and carry out their roles. So communicating to our employees during an incident can keep them safe and keep them from causing form disruption, for example during a cyber attack, and risking a greater financial loss to the business. So lastly, I can say that after all these key drivers, although there are circumstances which would be difficult for a small organization to come back from a major disaster, effective business continuity management can help aid the recovery and minimize loss when an incident occurs, better than in those companies without a plan in a place. Embedding BCM protects the interest of key stakeholders as well as the organization's reputation and brand. That's all from me. I would like to pass next presenter, Roshan.
Thank you, Anika. Hi, everyone. My name is Roshan Khan. So, I am going to talk about the relationship between ERM and BCM. So, the first question can come up: how ERM and BCM can add value to each other? So, BRM can provide ERM with a better understanding of critical activities, a stronger focus on exercising and testing the risk mitigation or reduction framework. I mean, how can enterprise uh, reduce their risk? So BCM can provide that framework. So the last one promotes a better understanding communications dependency between critical functions. So, ERM can provide BCM with a broad view of risk issues, a better definition of corporate objectives and understanding risk, systematic approach of consistency and continuously monitoring and managing risk, and the last one, a better view of any emerging threats and promotes cross-functional communication of key threats. So now I will explain broadly so that you guys can understand what's the main point here. So, business continuity management is an important part of ERM, or we can say that BRM is a subdomain of ERM, but BCM cannot protect an organization from all the categories of risk that enterprise faces. So, COSO describes ERM as a process that is established and implemented by a board of directors, management, and other personnel, and applied in strategy settings and across the enterprise, and provides reasonable assurance regarding the achievement of entity objectives. But we have to know that what is ERM mission. So ERM mission is to identify, assess, monitor, and report major risks that could impede or prevent or otherwise negatively affect achievement of an organization's strategic goals and operational objectives. ERM enhances an organization's ability to make risk-informed decisions. And on the other hand, BCM can be described as a process of identifying and responding to fast approaching, high impact interruption risk that can overwhelm inherent operational resiliency. So, business continuity management mission can be described as to enhance enterprise resiliency and help an organization respond and recover from both unanticipated and anticipated business interruption. The main thing here is business continuity management has added value of helping the organization identify operational resiliency improvements that can greatly enhance their ability to weather interruption that could otherwise significantly change competitors. So the next slide. No, the previous one, Ahmed. Yes, this one. So, what is the relationship between business continuity and risk management? We can see a diagram here. So, in an organization, how ERM and BCP can join each other, and how they implemented their plan, and the result they achieved the organizational objectives. So, the first point is here: ERM and BCM share the common goals of identifying, assessing, and managing interruption risks that could serve to prevent achievement of their strategic objectives. The relationship between business continuity and risk management depends on the organization. In most cases, business continuity is a subdomain of risk management. I mentioned it previously. So, business continuity management and enterprise risk management complement one another, and both are necessary in today's high risk business environment as we are facing pandemic coronavirus. So these two are really important part to run out enterprise nowadays. So when it comes to business continuity and risk management, risk always sits in the driving seat, because business continuity as part of overall operational resilience program is the mitigation of risk. However, enterprise risk management, especially in large business, can be focused either on the micro scale or mislocalized impacts for satellite operation. So I can put here an example like tropical cyclones or flooding are not instant events. If flooding is a real risk in your area, so then make plans to mitigate against it, or how you can prevent it. Just make plan. Don't wait for the water to be lapping around you and then you just get your plan out. That's not done, right? So as it's too late and your business will have been interrupted already and you lost everything. So on the other hand, business continuity management is a tool that reacts when there is a business disruption, while enterprise risk management is a strategic tool used by management to accomplish its business objectives. Although business continuity management can be part of the action plans to achieve those business objectives. So moving on the next point, what's the difference between enterprise risk and business continuity management? Business continuity management and enterprise risk management, they are interrelated to each other, but there is some difference I want to mention here. So at the end of the day, they are linked with each other, but the best way to think about is probably what's the difference. Enterprise risk management is about processes that are inherent before a disaster occurs. I mean, that is implemented before the disaster occurs, because enterprise risk management is concerned with protecting a business from risk by identifying the risk and defining a way to minimize their probability. On the other hand, business continuity management is a process that are designed to be enacted after a disaster has occurred, because business continuity management is the process of maintaining business operation during or after an actual disaster that is executed through the use of business continuity plan. So one of the key differences between ERM and BCM is their approaches. Due to preventive nature of ERM programs, enterprise risk management is a largely strategic undertaking. It's focused on understanding and planning for hypothetical situations. Business continuity management, on the other hand, is much more tactical. It's focused on the actual way that an organization should act when a business disruption occurs. Next slide, please. So here we can see a diagram where explain how ERM and BCM interrelated with each other. So under ERM, there is some risk. We can see here strategic risk, financial risk, operational risk, legal and compliance risk, and health and safety risk, environmental occupational risk. So we all know that COSO's describe ERM definition, and BCM cannot protect all enterprise risk. BCM just can protect operational risk, legal and compliance risk, and environmental occupational health and safety risk. So the next diagram, right hand side, we can see here risk analysis and business continuity planning. So risk analysis, there is some process. My other presenter already described that processes. The first one, identification, analysis, evaluation, treatment, and monitoring. And the treatment part, there is risk treatment strategies, how we can avoid the risk, how we can reduce the risk, and transfer and acceptance. And for reduction or under the risk treatment strategies, we have to plan how we can continue our business, how we can reduce our business and go after it. So on BC planning, there is some part. There is the first one is business impact analysis, recovery strategy, plan developing, testing and exercising, and the last one, program management. That's how we can overcome after the risk. So BSIM is one component of an effective enterprise program designed to manage risk, and therefore emerging as one of many pillars within ERM. And BCM and ERM complement one another, and both are necessary in today's environment. Business continuity professionals should understand the principles found in the ERM process in order to deliver higher levels of value with the objectives. So this diagram actually applied across the enterprise at every level and unit, and including taking an entity level portfolio view of risk. This diagram an enterprise always follow to overcome their risk. So at the last, I want to say that we are facing the most worst situation nowadays, that is coronavirus, and coronavirus affects our personal, economic, and social lives. So for prevent this risk, we need to have strong and comprehensive framework. All organizations, including public sector or private sector, must have to develop a risk management strategy and enterprise risk management plan first before developing a business continuity plan. These plans must be continually updated and should represent current status of the organization. And coronavirus is a global event actually, and an organization may not have the ability to control it. But however, an organization should have the ability to deal with impacts and protect the business and the employees until the disruptive event is manages by others. I think, from my personal opinion, it's a time to build a strong ERM and BCM process for our organization, for existence the organization, and for the sake of the employees. So that's all for me. I would like to invite my next presenter.
Okay, thank you, Rosen. The next, I will present about what is the roles of BRM. The roles in BRM is a key position in many companies. The role of business relationship manager, BRM, is dedicated to monitoring customer satisfaction and understanding and relying customer needs to the rest of the company staff. As a BRM, you will need a deep understanding of the IT department, but you will also need the skills to effectively communicate with multiple business units and to understand their technological needs. You will be main point of contact between IT, HR, finance, marketing, and other departments that rely heavily on technology for daily business. BRM can work at a high level of overseeing the relationship between IT and multiple departments, or they might work in one specific business between IT and another department. BRMs are integral to organizations that are trying to drive towards collaboration and a culture of creativity, innovation, and value that reflects that business strategy as a whole according to the BRM Institute. Role for companies that have traditionally kept IT separate from the rest of the organization. Operating as an independent department without significant interaction with outside business leaders, now that companies rely on IT throughout the entire enterprise, BRMs are helping to create more departments. Next slide, please. Okay, next is there are many the roles in BRM. The first one is BRM tasks and activities. The BRM role is focused on the customer and how your company supports your customer needs and expectations. Relationship management involves systematic identification, analysis, management, monitoring, and improvement of stakeholder relationship in order to target and improve mutually beneficial outcomes. The second one is skills and experience needed for BRM. Business relationship management straddles both the IT and business world, so anyone handling this role should be reasonably fluent in both. This role is best undertaken by a senior level staff who has experience in working in front-facing and support roles from both business and technology worlds. As a result, the set of competence required are mostly soft skill in nature. Saying that IT people must know business issues and communicate in a way that a business person can understand. The list of the following soft skills as most needed for IT, such as communication, collaboration, leadership, understanding, and solving business problems. The third one is organizational position. In BRM, since relating with customers and ensuring alignment from a strategic perspective is critical responsibility. BRM responsibility are often distributed among the following job titles, such as product owner, account manager, service manager. Product owner, this role represents the needs of the stakeholder community, however, connecting business and agile teams. The product owner must understand customer requirement and validate any developed software solution meet these requirements. And account manager is the focal point for client sales and customer satisfaction. Account manager is successful account manager is to identify opportunities and manage sourcing and delivery of products to customer, and taking responsibility for achieving sales target and maintaining profitability. The last one is service manager. This role plans, implements, and manage solution provision. The mission of service manager is to manage the definition of service level agreements, operational level agreements, contract, and key performance indicator. The role provides people management of staff, monitoring, reporting, and fulfilling service activities. The last one is CIO. The CIO role involves the development and maintenance of information system to generate value for the business and meet the organization's need. Next, please. Okay, the last one is the role of firm in an organization. The first one is risk manager or executive compliance commit. It's develop and implements risk management procedures and training as needed. However, review risk metrics and reports to the CEO on recommended change. The second one is department heads. Encourage an organizational climate that support risk management. We have to ensure that employees understand the importance and consequences of risk management issues in their immediate work areas. The last one is staff. Assist in development and implementation of process to mitigate risk. And we have to identify any new risks and report them to their immediate supervisor. Okay, thank you. I will pass it to my friend.
Hi, my name is Ahmed, and I will be explaining about the responsibilities of PRM and ERM. The general responsibilities of PRM, according to PRM Institute, coach business leaders on how to communicate to IT and what they need to improve business performance, and communicate with business leadership to evaluate joint initiative and proposals to see how they align with established roadmaps and business proposals. Identify business value when developing ideas with focus on digital awareness, risk assessments, business continuity, and business capability requirements. Identify strategic business function opportunities, both short-term and long-term, and track adoption across relevant departments. Build and manage a relationship team to oversee convergence and strategic partner across the organization, including when executive and senior leadership. Uh, Maintain creativity and innovation by staying on top of industry and technological uh, trends. Ensure joint invention are set up for successful analysis with a corporate strategy. According to BRM Institute, the most important skills for business leadership, relationship manager include relationship building, strategic thinking, and energy and focus, strong communication skills, and highly skilled negotiating and problem solving skills, leadership skills, and the last one, strong writing, speaking, and presenting skills. ERM, who's responsible? The board is responsible, and also the CEO is responsible. Top management is responsible. The CRO is responsible. The business unit heads are responsible. So, but this sounds like a recipe for disaster. When everyone is responsible, often no one takes responsibility. And if everyone is responsible, then how is a decision can ever be reached? Okay, well, everyone needs to have different responsibilities within an ERM program. So most often people are given partial responsibility for ERM depending upon their everyday job responsibilities. And in addition of that, a few people are given special new responsibilities and new rules, usually part-time jobs are created to crystallize those new rules and responsibilities. Those new rules are most often called risk owners, risk community members, and responsibilities in ERM. Establish and communicate ERM vision across the organization, work with senior management to define appropriate role of risk management in the organization, assists senior management in communicating ERM's uh, role throughout the organization, advise management on risk management activities and leading practices, determine and implement a, a bespoke ERM infrastructure, uh, integrate risk management with strategic management process, develop and communicate ERM policies, establish, communicate, and facilitate use of appropriate ERM methodologies, tools, and techniques. Establish and follow up an appropriate framework to facilitate collection and analysis of data and information. Well, that's all for me, and now I will pass it to Sylvia.
Hi, I will explain about the conclusion So business continuity management and enterprise risk management complement one another, and both are necessary in today's high-risk business environment. Business continuity professionals should understand the principle found in the enterprise risk analysis process in order to deliver higher levels of value with the objective of managing risk likelihood and impact. Additionally, BCM professionals should recognize that there are key teams members focus on managing availability and reputational risk. It is important to be clear that BCM cannot protect an organization from all the categories of risk that face it. To do this, we need a wide framework. A holistic approach is needed to all risks within the categories, with perspective across all units, holding key individuals responsible for managing critical risks within the scope of their responsibilities. I think it's enough for the conclusion. Thank you.
Okay, so that's all from our group. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.